Yeah, how are you doing, man? I gotta tell you right now, look at these eyes.
Wake up.
Tired.
Wake up, man. It's time to talk some Big Brother here. I'll have to go through the webcam to shake you here a little bit because we got a lot to get to here on this show.
I mean, come on, man. I was on the East Coast. I was on the Today Show. Stuff's not easy, man. You know?
Yeah, you know what? No excuses this is your top priority. Don't worry about Matt Lauer and Carson Daly and all these other people. This is your top priority, Nick.
Fair enough, man. Fair enough. All right, dude. So I wrote down notes per usual. All right. It is episode 35, by the way. That's how far we've came.
It's flying by.
I can't believe it, dude. So let's just launch right in, dude.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. My first note, Final Four. We're actually now down to this Final Four discussion amongst all the different groups. It's basically, we talked about this last week. There's three couples, and then there was a floating meech. So this is Sunday's episode, right? So there's a little recap about what's happening beforehand. So this is a time period where Michelle is actually still in the house. And so I think it's actually really neat that we're now here and that Final Four is in the discussion. It's in the room now. It's not well, I don't know. What does the rest of the house think? Yeah, whatever. We'll do what they do.
Here's the thing, Nick. You and I talked about doing a show after that episode, but because Meech and everybody else just lounged around the house the entire time, they were forced to show clips of the family, show clips of Victor's family, and Meech didn't even campaign to stay in the house. And then all of a sudden, the last second before the eviction show, now she's trying to scramble to be able to stay in the house, which is what they showed us on this past episode, but. She didn't even campaign to stay in the house, Nick.
So the clips that I saw of Meech trying to campaign, it was literally like this. It was the first day of school when someone's they deed me in line, but they don't want to say anything. It's socially awkward. She was well, yeah, I should campaign now and it's stuff and you should totally not vote me out.
Well, and then she also keeps doing this stuff where as a super fan, trying to say I know about the game. You shouldn't keep Paul as a super fan. I'm shocked she didn't campaign the whole time. I said she was going to leave last week. I thought she was done. It was actually nice to see her leave. I will say this, though, Nick. I still think that Corey and Nicole made a mistake lining with Paul and Victor. I still feel like that.
You're right. Strategically, you are correct. But in the house, in the inner workings of it, I'm sure that they sleep so well at night knowing that the people that they actually aligned with are the people that do what they say, right? And so, yes, for the game, from the eagle-eye perspective, you are correct. But as the players, I'm sure even as they get closer to the end, their moral compass is saying, you know what? I'm at least happy if I don't win, at least that person does.
Because here's the thing that I'll say along this. Should James leave this week, then it's going to be Paul versus Corey and Natalie for next week's HOH. I'm sorry, Paul versus Corey and Nicole. I'm not really counting Natalie in there. I'm not thinking that she'll win. So then should Corey or Nicole win, that Final Four HOH will be Paul and Victor against either Corey or Nicole. So now I feel like Paul and Victor are bound for the final two because Nicole and Corey didn't go with James and Natalie. I think it was a big strategic mistake on their part.
So I'm saying yes and no because a lot of those competitions towards the end aren't necessarily physical. And so some of them either are random chance because they're just so complicated, they're so difficult. Sometimes people just win them at a pure luck, or they're mental comps, which Victor is also good at. But I wouldn't necessarily say just because he's won a lot doesn't mean towards the end. I mean, they get really wacky towards the end here, and so. Yeah. Who knows?
But the only thing is, it's probably going to be Paul and Victor versus Corey or Nicole for that last Final Four comp. So they still have the numbers on their side, even if it is a more mental comp. So I don't know. I still think that was a big strategic mistake. We'll have to see what happens.
I disagree with you, but at the same time, I agree with you. Kind of. Here's something else I wrote down. The announcer, we've been talking about this almost all summer. The announcer finally said, "Your boy," on TV. I couldn't believe it.
I think he said that before. I think he's dropped the "your boy." I would love to see him read some of this copy as it comes in because, it's just he's talking about all sorts of stuff here this summer. Stuff that I'm sure, like normally he's pretty on script. I feel like the past seasons. I feel like now for this season, there's all this jargon and slang, and everyone's got different nicknames, and it's friendship and your boy that he probably has no idea what he's getting from day to day.
When he reads that copy, he's probably just like, how did I get myself into this career path? I thought, I was going somewhere with this.
I'm surprised that he didn't say Meech leaves the house and Pablo leaves the house with her. I guess Pablo's got that little inflatable pelican that we've seen Paul having the whole time. I guess he's got a name now as he finally leaves the house, Nick.
I'm sure it's probably got an official Instagram account and Twitter account.
Yeah.
It probably has more followers than a lot of people out there. Moving on, they had this egg comp. I love these things. Every year they always do something with chicken wire. It's not always an egg. Most time it's an egg, but I never made it that long in the house, you know what I mean? But I always think this would be such a cool comp to play.
Yeah. It seemed like a brutal comp. I mean, after an hour, they only had one HOH letter down. Normally for this comp, I feel like you've got to get a certain amount of eggs through, right, essentially. And then it's the person that gets X amount of eggs. Now, not only are they passing eggs through, they've got to put them on that ramp and hit a letter. I thought it was a really hard comp, as evident by 1 hour after they were into it. They only had one letter down. It was a brutal comp, I thought.
It was super brutal. I mean, I think it was a total of like 1 hour and 45 minutes. That's a really long time for one of these, like the strategic, you got to like move stuff around and the scale. Yeah. And here's something that I didn't quite understand. Why didn't they put as many eggs as they possibly could inside and then shoot them all at the same time?
Okay, true. I was also thinking why they're not starting here, letting the egg fall and catching it. So we have all these questions. Maybe we can get a house guest on here, Nick, to have some of these answered. But yeah, that's also a good question. Collect the eggs and then try to knock them down. So yeah.
Yeah, because then at least you have more time focusing on specifically,
I like that.
Getting it out as opposed to like spending all the time getting them across. I don't know. It just made sense. It's like the Henry Ford method. Like do all the things you need to do.
Yeah. Maybe they were tired of hearing really terrible egg puns from Nicole and just Corey and just everybody dropping these terrible egg puns. Maybe they just wanted to get it over with.
Speaking of egg puns, first of all, I love puns. I'm just like, I think it's the science in me. It's just, it appreciates the smart yet horrible humor. I wrote some of them down because I thought they were hilarious. We had egg stinked. That was a good one. We had exhausting and excellent and explosion. Horrific.
They definitely had plenty of time to come up with plenty of egg puns here, Nick, as they were working through. But we have shocker. Victor wins. Who could have seen that coming? He's a comp beast, Nick.
What, dude?
I know.
I mean, Dad, it's like obviously kind of almost like a no-brainer.
He's the guy that I was saying that Corey and Nicole should have got out last week. But shocker, he wins, and now he's got all the power. But it seems like he's staying true to the Final Four, though. Again,
though, dude, for the short time that I was there, I can tell you that at some point there comes to be this like middle ground where it might not be good for you strategically, but like your moral compass is like okay with how the cards may fall amongst these people. It's almost like, like you go in there with like your friends or your family. It's like, hey, look, if I don't win, at least you could win, And so that's kind of what happens. And I feel like they're kind of building that trust relationship as opposed to where Natalie and James, they like literally, they just kind of, they played both sides of the house and they just weren't trustworthy enough. Well, no one's really trustworthy, but in this case, but I feel like that's the only thing is that Paul and Victor were at least loyal enough to make them feel good about their decision.
Yeah, but that could be what it is, that they at least value that kind of safety week to week right now that they feel in Paul and Victor more so than they value it in James and Natalie, I guess. I guess that's why that they did it. We'll have to see if it ends up paying off or not.
Speaking of Victor winning, I also wrote down here, there was a my boy explosion after he won. It was like, my boy in the DR, my boy shouting match, my boy this, my boy that. I mean, just
And Paul was there screaming at that fake rooster or whatever too. So there was there was fear all over the place. Even the poor inanimate objects were getting yelled at right there as Paul and Victor just celebrating the HOH win.
Dude, towards the end of the summer, man, it's just getting weird. You know, I mean, they're just totally isolated. They're totally cut off. They have no repercussions. I think what's happening is like their actual like societal social skills have like plummeted. You know what I mean? Like they're really good in the Big Brother house. But if you threw them out into like the normal world right now, I bet you they'd be so weird.
Yeah. I will give them credit though, Nick. Did you catch the montage of all of them goofing on Nicole's hometown where there was basically one kid per grade? I was pretty impressed with the house guests. They were firing some pretty good shots at Nicole, talking about, you know, the yearbooks just got one page, just a picture of you. Like the class reunion, you just walk into a room and you're by yourself. They were throwing some pretty good jokes out there.
I actually wrote that down as like one of the highlights of this episode. I enjoyed it so much. It was like set up so well. And I think we've all been in a situation where like you're just kind of ragging on one person and like your brain's really working really hard to try to come up with like the next little joke. I thought it was great.
It was really funny. It was definitely funny.
You brought this up. You talked about this earlier. It says Pablo, right? I put it in here, Pablo, LOL.
Yeah.
It's because of the dramatic music and the setup that they have with it. I really like when they do these kind of things.
Yeah, that was funny. I was going to ask you, Nick, do we have any idea what sound a pelican makes? Because they were using what sounded like a duck sound effect, and then we find out at the end that it's an inflatable pelican. So I was all kinds of confused till they finally told us it was a pelican.
I'm sure it makes some sort of cawing sound of sorts. I don't really know. I mean, maybe our viewers could tell us, like in the comment section below. Let us know, what kind of sound does a pelican make?
I don't know. Who knows? I will give the Big Brother editor a gold star for this episode. There was some really fun editing. The Pablo thing was fun. I also liked Corey's Harry Potter bad dream. That was bizarre. And then when they edited that together with the James and Natalie conversation in the dark, that was really funny. Corey just having this bizarre dream about Harry Potter and the world of Harry Potter. And it was just, I mean, has this been happening all summer? They haven't showed us this?
I know. I mean, why would they keep that from us? There was something in there, actually, in that little Pablo scene right there. When Meech leaves, and I didn't see this because I didn't see the last episode, she screams, "I'm Dan Giesling's cousin-in-law."
Yeah.
Is that true?
I heard that. I mean, I don't think it's true, but I have no idea. I mean, unless she was holding on to that for the entire summer, but I don't know.
It's this one's going to blow your mind.
Like she's going to drop a bombshell when she leaves and tell people that she's Dan's sister's brother's babysitter's best friend and the house is going to explode. Like, who cares, Michelle? We don't care at this point. So, yeah, I don't know if it's true, but it's funny. She dropped it and everybody didn't even seem to hear her or care about it. So
her bomb-dropping skills are as good as her game-playing skills, dude.
Yes.
I mean, just like not on fleek. Not on fleek as you could possibly get.
Here's a question, Nick, that I have for you. It seems like James and Natalie, there's a chance this might be a real thing with them, right?
Dude, I mean, that is
who would have thought?
Note that I have in here. It literally wrote down this, and I couldn't believe this. Natalie says James is her soulmate, and there's a whole section of the episode dedicated towards like showing that Natalie has dated all these different walks of life. It's almost like a PSA in a way. It's like there's this like upbeat music, and it's like love has no boundaries. And it's like James is like, yeah, it's like finally my time. Like, I don't know. I'm still shocked. I got to be honest. Like, she's such a turbo babe. I can't believe it.
It was a weird backhanded compliment that she paid James, too, because she said she dates for personality and character, not looks. So it's kind of like, I appreciate the fact you feel like I have a personality, but are you calling me ugly, Natalie? I'm not sure. But
she even said that she does or has dated ugly people in the past. She said it straight up.
But then she's also saying, as you said, that James is her soulmate and love is love, and she's and that he's her best friend. I mean, it seems like that out of all of the showmances here this summer, I never would have thought this, Nick, when it first started. But this is the one that I would say is the most likely to go somewhere. Maybe our viewers can chime in and tell us, if they agree with us, that this looks like this might go somewhere.
I'm going to go ahead right now and just disagree with you. So I even wrote down here, look who's even in the house right now. Do you remember Nicole and Hayden? Like, that, everyone was like, oh, they're going to get married. They even, like, spent some time together. They were like, and then I looked on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. No, not together. He cut his hair super short, not in the same state. And then she comes back on the show, and it's as if, like, that never even existed. I feel like what happens is as soon as you go back out in the outside world, you go back into your real life, you're no longer in the confinements of Big Brother, that it's like this reality no longer exists. There have been a couple relationships that have existed in Big Brother, and they've actually, transpired into something big. But I think for the most part, it's under unreal conditions, and so it makes people go crazy.
I totally hear you, and I think Corey and Nicole. I mean, I'm going to say that right now. That's not going to go anywhere after this is done. I don't think, at least. But it seems like there's this grounding of James and Natalie. There's this deep friendship almost. They're layering on top of this romance. So I don't know. I think they're out of all of the showmances, the most likely to maybe go somewhere after this with it.
I give it 16, 17 hours tops.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. What else did I write down here? Yeah. Natalie and James are so defeatist. It's as if, like, they have accepted their fate and there's no fighting bone in their body, right? Like, there's no strategy even. It's just, like, James has gone, like, totally self-sacrificial, and I think he's just playing it like, he thinks he can get the girl with this move, and I think he's just okay with that. And that would not be my strategy in there. Yeah, I would try to be digging up some Dan-type thoughts, something.
I know. Find something to be able to try to sway them. I mean, like my angle, if I was James, and it's hard right now, he doesn't have a lot of angles, would be to really try to sell the fact that Corey and Nicole had, just had a Final Four with them, and then almost that they're playing both sides of the house, and even lie if you need to, and say that they've come up to us and approached us recently and wanted to solidify this Final Four. Just try to build them up as a threat in the minds of Paul and Victor. But yeah, they just, James is trying to be chivalrous and fall on the sword for Natalie and kind of accepting the defeat versus try to find a way to stay in the house a little bit longer.
Speaking of which, Kev, what are your predictions for the week? I know mine.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like the way James and Natalie are going here, that one of them is going to go. It's probably going to be James, and because it seems like that he would sacrifice himself for Natalie. So even if he wins the veto, he may use it on Natalie. Even though I know they had that conversation saying, no, James, you should use it on yourself. But it seems like he's ready to go, Nick, in the name of love. So I'm going to say James goes home this week.
Here's my wild prediction. If you didn't see that coming, see that coming. So here's what I think. I think that James will win the veto, right? And sorry. Okay. So Natalie will win the veto, and she will replace herself with Nicole. And in a swinging vote right at the end, Nicole will get evicted.
Really? Hey,
look, I'm not playing the best odds here, but I'm saying that's a wild prediction.
I love your wild predictions. They're crazy. That would be fantastic. That'd be great television if that happens. And maybe Glenn can make an appearance too in this wild prediction.
Glenn's coming back. They haven't revealed the ultimate twist, which is first out is first back in. I don't know if that even makes any sense, but
this would be the twistiest twist then of the summer.
Yeah, like Final Four becomes Final 16. Everyone comes back in for a Big Brother all the way to Spring Edition, and everyone just like
last person standing. It sounds like. Yeah. I like it. We'll see what happens.
Absolutely, Kev. Where can we find you?
At KevSoup on Twitter, and KevSoup.com is the website. As always, thank you all for watching.
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Nick Uhas. And just as Kev said, thank you so much for watching. The summer is getting close, but don't worry because we have the fall digital series coming out now too. So in the comment section below, let us know if you would like us to continue the show through the fall. I already know that I would like to, but I just want to know what you guys think. And as always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. It'll be right here. We have new videos every week, sometimes 2 times a week, and we'll see you really soon.